tell her?
Wow. So your family fled during the Bolshevik Revolution?
Yeah, in and around. A lot of sacrifice was made, and yeah, by whatever route, whatever boat, whatever opportunity arose. There are some generations are more tested than other generations, but I'm the beneficiary, as was my entire family. So I ain't forgetting. I'm aware that sacrifices were made for me to be born in a free country.
Same here, except it's not just part Russian for me. I've also got part Romanian, Polish, Ukrainian, Lithuanian, tiny smidgen of German, and a tiny smidgen of Belgian. I guess that's why I love waffles so much.
There you have it. Well, in those days, the boundaries would change every 15 minutes. Now you're in Russia. Now you're in Prussia. Now you're in Romania. Now you're in East Pachuch. Now you're in Minsk-Pinsk.
And now you're in Patsohuenia.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I had to do it. That's the secret to comedy is timing. You know that.
Always back to Bullwinkle.
That's where everything starts.
True.
So that's another thing that you, me, and Mel Blanc have in common. Brian actually that you were Jewish, and I was hoping you were Jewish. I wasn't setting myself up for disappointment. Are you a Kohen?
My mother's father was, and so yeah, I can spock it up.
There are Vulcans who aspire all their lives to achieve what you've been given by design.
And the world that I live in and the world that I believe in and espouse is I believe there are good people and bad people of all colors, of all stripes, of all ethnicities, and I look for the good ones in all categories, and I try to get out of the way of the bad ones in all categories.
One of the things I admire about you, Gregg, I've been following you ever since I friended you on Facebook. You're not afraid to call out the bullshit that's been going on here, especially. And you're more than just an actor. You're one of the people who's inspired me. You have. I can't even put it into words that are even adequate. But you are one of my heroes, and I want this to be as memorable an experience for you as it is for me, because.
Hey, that means the world to me. Now, your voice was digitizing through that, but I certainly got the gist of it, and I appreciate it. Thank you. That's kind of
like Grateful Dead. Guess I get the gist of it, but it's all right.
I choose my words carefully, as do you.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty open book, honestly, and yes, I've expanded my social media reach to try to make known the things that I feel need to be made known. And I'm not saying there's not two sides to every story, but I'm also saying here's who I am, here's my worldview, here's what I think is right and inclusive, here's what I think is wrong and exclusive. And I prefer inclusivity. I prefer collaboration. I don't see any purpose for or need for division, but here we are in a divided world. So yeah, I've made it part of my platform and my reach to let people know who I am, what I am, and why I believe what I believe. And it opens up a can of worms. There's often a lot of resistance to things that I put forward that I think are interesting / compelling / informative. and some people see the exact opposite way. I'm all for civil disagreement, and
as long as it's constructive, not destructive.
As long as it's constructive and disagreeing without being disagreeable. Yeah, I demand a level of respect. Otherwise, there's no room for that thread.
Orson didn't take it from Howard Morris, Tom, and Frank Welker as his evil brothers, so you shouldn't have to take it as your real life self either.
Okay, don't talk about my brothers, because they're trying to beat the ham out of me.
Not while I'm around, Orsie. I'm going to always stand up for my friends, no matter what they say about me. What do you think of my Frank Welker? That's the only voice of his that I can actually do.
Yeah, well, we've been such great friends for a lifetime. And you win Trivial Pursuits if you once you realize that G1 Grimlock and Megatron are also Garfield and Odie. And it's his homage to Lorenzo. He's also made it his own. My God, we've had so many adventures together. We're great friends.
One of the things I've wanted to do ever since I was a kid, interview my voice actor heroes, Frank and Peter Cullen and Jim Cummings. Those guys would be really adamantium to try to break through. And you've been Mysterio and Craven the Hunter, so you know how tough adamantium is.
Quentin Beck, master of special effects and treachery. And Craven the Hunter, who wants to mount Spider-Man on the wall as my trophy, because the toughest game of all is to hunt man. Or something.
Which is funny, because when you were alongside Christopher Daniel Barnes and Edward Asner and Jennifer Hale, and also the wife of Gene Roddenberry as Aunt Anna, your Craven wasn't the half brother of the Chameleon. You were actually trying to help both Spidey and Morbius. You were more like
yeah, not Morbius.
I was always an X-Men fan and Spidey, but my knowledge of Marvel isn't as much as DC.
Stanley told us that, or he got word to us that he considered that at that time in that day, pre-movies, pre-everything else, that he felt that was his image of the books, the strips brought to animated life. He was a big fan of that incarnation, the animated Spider-Man, the animated series.
That was definitely the best, and it had an all-star cast. Jim Cummings is the Shocker. Edward Asner is
Jonah Jameson.
Jonah Jameson. Let's see. Also, Stanley's wife was Madam Web.
Oh, there you go. I was unaware of.
And let's not forget the Joker was also the Hobgoblin.
Correct. Absolutely correct.
And one of the guys that you've alternated in lines with more than anybody, Neil Ross. He was the Green Goblin, not only in that, but in the previous incarnation.
Yep. I have nothing but respect for the people that I am allowed to work with. It's such a great fraternity of creative minds and spirits and abilities and skills, and everybody. There's very few people I don't immediately gravitate toward and just genuinely like and respect.
So you're basically in the voiceover equivalent of Will Rogers, even though his medium was only voice because TV wasn't invented yet.
I never met a voice actor I didn't like. Not true. Well, there probably been a few.
For me,
I have not had the opportunity to work with him yet. I still hope that that lies somewhere in the future.
Well, you gotta prepare yourself because that field where you get to Aqua Teen Hunger Force and Squidbillies and Family Guy, it's a lot more coarse and corrosive than the cartoons that we know and love that you helped institutionalize.
Well, I'm going to say Duckman was pushing the envelope pretty hard, and I stand by everything about that show. I think it honestly set a trend in animation and animation writing, and created so much material jammed into such a relatively short time span that you kind of couldn't digest it all in one sitting because it was coming at you so fast and furious. But I love that show and that company and that production company, and which became Our Real Monsters came after Duckman, but had a lot of the same people behind the scenes. All of the Class Geek Chupo ventures were just so boutique-y, artistic, interesting, creative, eclectic. Just a dream for the sort of odd and off side of me. I love them all.
So this question is one that you would be able to answer better than most other people in the voiceover industry. Mel Blanc, Lorenzo Music, Howard Morris, Don Messick, Scatman Crothers, Buster Jones. They're no longer with us, but they were your colleagues.
Absolutely.
And you've been in so much with them more than anybody. Don Messick, I'm especially curious about. We all know who Lorenzo Music was. He was he was Garfield since the very beginning, and he was also the one Dr. Peter Venkman that actually sounded like him. So, I mean, you've heard what Dave Collier sounds like as Peter Venkman, and he just doesn't cut it.
He's so good. If he's not your choice for that role, he's a fantastic talent. But he's got their favorites.
Collier was part of the reason why I wanted to be a voice actor in the first place, and Robin Williams was the other one in Mrs. Doubtfire.
No surprise, two excellent choices.
And Collier was in Muppet Babies, and so that's a credit right there.
I worked off camera in 2 seasons of Mork and Mindy as the Bebo, the Orkin Nagachomp who follows Mork to Earth. He reports back into Orson. But I was there when Jonathan Winters came on. I was there for a lot of wonderful, wonderful backstage stuff. They ultimately libraried all of the sound effects that I was making for Bebo. We did it live for a long period of time, but whoever was running the robot that was running around the stage, the little character kept bumping into things. It ended up costing them a lot of time in front of a live audience. It's not because of what I was doing, but because the little Bebo, the Nagachomp, kept going everywhere on stage except where it was supposed to go. For me, part of us just means part of us. I see. I'm a humanitarian. I believe in the all of us aspect of all of us. I wish that we would behave as earthlings first, and who knows what we might accomplish. But that's me. I just look for the best people and the best in the best people that I can find and collect. All of the rest is secondary or unimportant to me. It's unimportant to me. I seek out good people and I collect them and try to focus on them and not bother with the rest.
You were in a Yogi Bear show in the 90s, and that was one of Don's last roles. Because he died in 97, and a year before that, he had a problem with his throat, and he said they couldn't do it anymore. What is your fondest memory or project that you ever did with Don Messick?
I've told you before we started the interview, I'm going to have answers that sound like cop-outs, but they're not. Every time is a tie for first place. He means so much to me. He and Mel Blanc and June Foray, that just being in their presence made me feel elevated in my own opinion of myself, just because I was in the presence of and working with and on the same ripple of the same pond as heroes of mine, heroes with names that some, maybe a lot of people don't know their names, but they were legendary to me because they were legendary to me. So every time, I can't be more specific than that.
Okay.
And that should be the highest form of compliment there is, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm noticing by my clock on the wall that I'm going to have to call it quits pretty quick. We've been on for quite some time. I don't mean to short the process. I'm just running out of time.
I don't suppose that a follow-up in maybe a few weeks or a month or whenever's convenient for you would be on the table.
We can talk about it at a later date.
Well, I still owe you a pizza, so keep that in mind. That is ground in granite, that next time you come to St. Louis, you have the opportunity to pick it up. I am gonna treat you to the biggest Emo's pizza that you ever had.
That's a very nice offer. Of course, there should be toasted ravioli attached.
There is never a time when it's not attached.
Yeah,
now.
Well,
Fitz's root beer. I'll get us a 6-pack.
I can drink Fitz's till the cows come home, and maybe even after the cows come home.
So
it sounds now like you're coming from outer space. All I'm getting is digital beeps and bings and.
So I guess probably now would probably be the best time for us to end this. But
it sounds now like you're. Bings.
That's the price that I have to pay. But Gregg, it was a real honor talking to you and you granting me this time and your experience.
Pleasure for me, and I'm going on record to say that you're very talented. All the things that you stepped into, voice-wise, character-wise, were very, very, very good.
Thank you so much. You have no idea, literally no idea how much that means to me, especially coming from you, Gregg Berger.
Good. You've got a gift.
Thank you. And you just made it that much more platinum. Live long and prosper, my friend.
Live long and prosper. Let's see if I can still do that. Ow! It hurts. It hurts when I do that.
So don't do it.
Right. Then don't so stop doing it. See, you could be a doctor. It hurts when I do that. That's it. Then don't. Cheers. Thank you for having.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Hopefully I'll talk to you again soon.
Cheers.